Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Black Girls Make Music. Thank you so much for journeying with me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for taking time. Time is not a renewable resource. So I thank you for spending your time with me. It makes me really happy to know that there are people out there who are listening to this podcast, who are getting something from my experiences, from my learning, from my mistakes, from my growing, and who are also just interested in uplifting other Black women who are making music. So if you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. So as I mentioned before in the previous episodes, this season I'm trying to do something different. So if you would like to have your music featured on this podcast, feel free to send me that at blackgirlsmakemusic@gmail.com. And during the episode, I want to share more music from amazing Black women who are making music. So it could be a voice memo of you singing. It could be a completed track. It could be you playing an instrument, whatever. Like, just send the music in, send me some recommendations, all that kind of stuff. Also, if you are interested in encouraging other Black women, feel free to send in a love letter to Black women making music at blackgirlsmakemusic@gmail.com. All right. Follow us on all the things as usual. Black Girls Make Music on Instagram and Black Girls Make Music on Facebook. Okay? So as I stated before in the beginning, about 2 episodes ago, that I wanted to make this season more soulful. I want to connect with you all more. I want to build community. And so I wanted to be able to share my story with you guys about how I started making music. And so this title of this episode is The Story of a Black Girl and Her Music. I mentioned before that this season I'm going to have some dope interviews, and I'm so excited for y'all to listen to those. But I figured, if I'm sharing other people's story, then I should hold myself accountable and share my story as well. And hopefully you can get something from it and be encouraged. Because you don't need much to get started. And so I don't want you to stop yourself from creating great art because you feel like you're not qualified, because you are, sis. All right. So let's get into today's episode. So I made an episode last season about how I was influenced in my music from my parents to my grandmother to my aunts and uncles and things like that. And so now I'm fast forwarding to the point of where I'm old enough to start making music, write my own music. So I always wrote music, but they stayed in my notebook and my voice recorder. I actually purchased a voice recorder from Maxway. I don't know if any of you will know about that store, but it's a voice recorder, and I used to carry it around in my pocket, and I would just record song ideas on there because I used to get song ideas all the time. I would fiddle on the piano and create music. I would sing songs. Even now I get songs in my sleep, and I always want to have a voice recorder near me. And I thought in order to bring those ideas to full completion, I thought I needed studio time, but I didn't have the money. I didn't have the resources. I didn't know the first thing about getting in the studio. I had no idea. I was like, well, who do I know? And even at the college I went to Towson University above Baltimore. And I didn't really know about their music program when it came to actually engineering, right? So I didn't know any people who worked in engineering. So people who record music and mix it and master it and stuff like that. I had no idea. All I knew was that I had a dream and I wanted to get my music out there. I just did not know how. So fast forward to 2011. Yeah, I think it was 2011. I had just crossed into an organization, and the person who brought me in, my big or my pro fight, she sent my information. She knew that I sung. She sent my information to a brother of the organization, and so I'll just say friend. So she sent to one of her friends because he was working on a project, and she was like, I think Alicia would be great for this project. She sings. She vouched for me. So I ended up hooking up with this guy to make music. And so I didn't know what to expect. I was really nervous. He'll tell you, I was so nervous. I sat on the floor when we were about to record because I was so nervous about people hearing my voice. I had never recorded myself in a studio. And so when I first walked into his house, he had a DIY studio, and, just whatever. The guy he's actually my husband now. So we're married. So he had a DIY music studio, and I never saw that before. I never thought that to be an option. So in his room, he had a computer. He had all the equipment you needed to record music. So he had the mic and the pop filter and all those things, and he had it set it up nicely. He had a DIY booth so that if you know anything about sound, like the room I'm in now, it might sound different than the room I was in. It's getting late, and I usually record by like a window or something, but the room noise like reverberates off of the walls. Like if you're in a big room, it'll echo, and that's because your sound is bouncing off of the walls. There's too much space. So he actually created a DIY studio, and I was like, wow, so I can make music without buying studio time and all this other stuff. So this opened my eyes to like what's really possible as a DIY musician. So yeah, so in his bedroom, he offered, after I helped him with his project, he offered to help me with my music. And so, me, like, maybe you don't know me, I'm really shy. And I was like, okay, sure. So I took it. I was like, I'm not really gonna like reach out to you to record music, even though I really wanted to. But I was so afraid. Like the song that he had me record, it took like all day because he was awkwardly sitting in the room like, okay, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And, I would be so afraid to open my voice and sing and for people to hear my voice like in real time, I had never done that before. It was just very strange, very new. And I had to get over myself to conquer that fear to be able to create music. About a year later, he actually helped me record my first song, my first single. It's called No Hiding in the Dark. And so actually that wasn't the first single. The first single, I never put it out because I never finished it. But the first finished single was called No Hiding in the Dark. And I'll put it here so that you can listen to it, like a snippet of it. But essentially the song was about me chasing my dreams, working through my fears. Here is a snippet of that song. Scream with all my might, but no one hears. Can't tell which way's right through all these tears. Emptiness surrounds me, people running from me. I can't see why. Ground crumbles beneath me, and I can't fly. But I won't fall. It's time you realize you're more than you think you are. Open up your eyes. No hiding in the dark. All right, so as you heard, the song is not like super polished. I was really nervous. I wasn't really giving all my effort, because I really didn't know what was possible recording a song in a studio. I had never done anything like that before. So this was a brand new experience for me, and I was so nervous, and I was just like, I'm not going to try anything. I'm not going to try no harmonies or whatever. I'm just going to keep it real chill, real normal. But essentially that changed my life. It changed my life. It gave me ideas it showed me that I can get ideas from my head and my voice recorder onto tape, like onto like an actual track where I can listen to it and listen back and hear myself harmonize with myself. Like this changed the game for me when I figured out that you could do a DIY studio. And so, yeah, so like I said, I was layering vocals. I was doing guitars. Like I couldn't play the guitar thing. So I played one string at a time and layered that on top of each other. Like, and nobody would know, like, who cares, right? Just they care about how it sounds and like the message that you're sharing. And this, again, blew my mind. So, fast forward, we got married, we fell in love, yada, yada, yada. And so now I'm living with someone who actually makes music, who actually mixes music and does stuff for fun. So while he would go to work after we got married, I started fooling around with FL Studio. And so actually, I'll share in the description a link, because I actually did a video on our DIY music studio and like all the things you need to buy. So feel free to check that out. It's there for you and for your consumption to help you. So yeah, so check that out. But I started fiddling around with FL Studios, and it was an older version at the time, but it was amazing for me. Like for some people, they're like, oh, FL Studios, like they have, thoughts about it or whatever. I didn't care. I didn't care. This was brand new to me. This was exciting to me. I could make sounds that I couldn't make with myself. I could, like, all the synth sounds and all the like different guitar voices and stuff like that. I had never tried anything like that, and this was also new, so I would just like play around with it. And so for the first single, for the first single I did, I uploaded and I shared it on SoundCloud, and I shared it, and that actually got like 400 plays. I was like, what? One, I didn't think it was like, it's amazing. I thought it was like, oh, it's okay, you know, but it got 400 plays. And not that I have hit numbers like that recently at all in the least bit, but like that really blew my mind. So I started making more music, and I started making more music with my husband. And it was great that he was there with me to help me walk through, because I'm like, how do I do this? And he would show me, and he would show me how to do things and all this other stuff. But starting out, I was so scared and timid. I was so meek. I was so like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? I don't want you to hear my voice crack. I'm afraid to try new things because I'm afraid of being judged. You know, it was about the fear of judgment. It was a lot of work to get it together, you know, but eventually, like I said, we got married, and I had all these tools at my disposal. You know, I quit my oppressive job and I started experimenting with music. My job was horrible, y'all. Like, I was suffering physically from my job. It was so bad. But anyway, I digress. So, you know, I was trying new sounds. I was left alone. I was free to explore. And my husband would go to work, and I would sit with the music and listen to it. Like, I would send him the music that I worked on, so for him to listen to it. And I was becoming excited again, right? Like, I was becoming like, okay, this could really be a thing. I could really like make music. This is possible. Eventually, I realized that I preferred minimal music. So like, not a lot of synths, not a lot of instrumentation. I really just preferred like acoustic sounding music, like the guitar and a voice, or just voice. You know, I felt limited in the music I could create. Like, my skills didn't match my taste, but I wanted to put out a project. And I felt like the project wasn't going to be good because I was like, well, I can't play no instruments, and I don't have access to a band. And how do I pay for, you know, people to come in and like play on a track? What does that look like? Because our studio was in our bedroom. Like, what is that supposed to, you know, look like in like this logistically? Like, how are we supposed to work that out? And so I was procrastinating, and fear told me that because I didn't play a musical instrument, or I didn't have access to a band, that I had to wait until I got those things to actually put out, you know, a project with all the bells and whistles and to create a great project. So I did a cover of Because He Lives, and I'll play a clip for you right now of that song. God sent His Son. They called Him Jesus. He came to love, heal, and forgive. He lived and died So yeah, so that was the version I put out of Because He Lives. And it was a cappella. I was feeling sad and I just wanted to sing. And I just sang that song. I sang that song and I sent it to my husband. And so from that, my husband challenged me to put together a whole project to work with my strengths. And at the time, my strength was just my voice. Still at this time, my strength is my voice. I didn't think I could play an instrument, but that didn't negate the fact that my voice is an instrument. Why do I have to play guitar when I have my voice, you know? And so I actually did a whole project. I did a whole a cappella project. It had songs of like Lovely Day, Is This Love by Bob Marley. And you can actually get it at the description get it at the link in the description too. So I had and you can get it for free. It's free. I made this project and I think it was 6 songs and I put it out there. And to my surprise, like that thing helped me find my voice and my style as a musician. You know, my voice is still an instrument. What I had was enough. And people loved it. And it surprised me that people loved it because I didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't think I was good enough. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I had to have all these extra things, but I was enough. So like I said, you can get it for free at the description, the link in the description. And a year later, I released my first original music. So I worked on another EP called Matter. And basically the whole point of the album was that you matter because I had gone through some trashy friendships and I'll get more into that in a later episode, but it was just really bad. It was just really bad back to back. And I just feel like life sucks. Life just sucks. And this was more intimate. It was more vulnerable because this is music that I wrote. Like this is music that I shared from my own experiences. And those experiences were, you know, personal. Like the topics were like friendship breakups, vices, like drinking or like depression, suicide, you know, feeling like I was at the end of my rope. And then at the end of the project, the idea was hope, you know, and I put that out. And again, people enjoyed it, you know, and so that is how I got started with making music. It was trying. It was trial and error. Like it was me having fun and fiddling around with things and trying new things. Like I don't sound like a lot of artists. I don't, because I gave myself time to explore what I like, what I don't like, to figure out what do I like a lot of instrumentation? Not really. I like more vocal heavy music, you know, and it might come from the background that I had, like listening to a lot of choirs or singing in choir and appreciating harmonies and things like that some music today lacks. You know, I'm really big on harmonies. I'm really big on vocals. And so none of that would have came to pass. I wouldn't have come to a conclusion either way about any of it had I not experimented and tried new things, you know? And currently as an artist, like I'm much more clear about what I want and what I want to create and how I want to create it. I have videos on YouTube and my Instagram where I'm just using my voice to do covers, like on a loop pedal machine, just looping vocal tracks and making music that way, you know? I'm much more clear on my message. My message is for hope and encouraging other people and loving other people and telling my stories and telling authentic stories, you know? I took the pressure off of myself to just embrace who I am as an artist and also be okay with being myself. I'm not a Beyonce. I'm not a Solange. I'm not a Rihanna. I am just Alicia. I am me and I'm unique and that is okay and that is enough. That is enough. So I have questions for you. What's your musical story? Share that with me. Send me an email. Send me a voice memo at Black Girls Make Music and I will play it on this episode, on the next episode, or I guess like the next couple of episodes of the podcast. You know, what is your musical story? What influences your music? How did you become the artist you are today? Or if you're in the beginning stages, what do you know about yourself so far that you want to apply to your music? How can you get started making music? Again, for me, it started with a voice recorder. That's all I had. That's all I had. Sorry, y'all. I don't know. I feel like just got attacked in my throat by some like pollen or something. But anyway, how can you get started making music? Is it just voice recording right now? Is it singing to covers and tracks on YouTube and just recording yourself singing to those tracks? You know, like nothing is too small. Do not despise humble beginnings. I'm sorry, y'all. Something's in my throat, but I'm going to get through this. So how can you use what you have to get started? If you just have a voice recorder or a guitar, you know, you have a phone. That is something you can use to record music. They have apps and stuff out there where you can record on your phone. there are ways to work around this, you know, and people think you need something polished. People just want to hear the songs. People just want to hear the content. Like, it's not that deep. A lot of people don't know the difference between a well-mixed song and a not well-mixed song. Unless you work in music and you're like used to hearing it, you don't know the difference. People don't know. I've had a lot of views on songs where I'm just singing to a piano and like the acoustics are bad and like you can't hear what I'm saying clearly. There are videos that I sang along to a cover, like a karaoke track to like Gladys Knight, and I got a few views. Like, what can you do with what you have right now? Submit your music and your story, or review other people's musics for me. Like, send me questions, comments in the email, and answer those questions. What are songs that inspire and encourage you? You know, I'm also trying to put together a playlist. So if you're on Spotify, if you have artists that you recommend on Spotify, send me them, send me your stuff, send me your link, send me your actual like voice memo, and I'm going to try my best to get it on the playlist and also get your music featured on this podcast. Give me a little blurb about what the song is about, what it means to you, etc. And I will do my best to do that. But that is all I have for you guys. I'm sorry. I have a little throat attack. But yeah, I hope this is encouraging. Hope this helped you out. Again, until next episode, I will talk to you all soon. Okay? Keep creating music, keep sharing music, and just keep being dope. Right? Have a great time. Talk to you later. Bye.